Today we're in Barbaresco, hallowed ground for wine lovers, visiting Ca del Baio, a family-run winery that's been quietly perfecting its craft for 4 generations. The kind of place where tradition isn't just a word, they live it, breathe it, bottle it. The most prestigious vines here, the ones that yield the Nebbiolo grapes destined to become Barbaresco, have seen 25, 30, 40 seasons. Tough, time-worn, and full of character, much like the family that tends them. Which brings us to the Grasso family. Giulio Grasso, the quiet force behind the wine, respected, revered, a winemaker's winemaker, is beginning to step back, making way for his 3 daughters to take the lead. It's not a break from the past, it's a natural evolution. So come along as we meet the Grassos at this generational crossroads and taste the history, heart, and soul infused in each and every bottle. Welcome to Inside the Vines.
We're here on a rainy morning at Ca del Baio Winery, and we're really looking forward to tasting through their amazing wines. You know, they're known for Barbaresco, but they also have a passion for white wines, Riesling and Chardonnay. And their Chardonnays have gained a lot of notoriety and a lot of attention in New York. So let's go in and taste some vino.
Let's do it.
All right. Buongiorno. How are you again?
Good.
So today we're at Ca del Baio Winery, another beautiful family winery.
We're going to meet the Grasso family.
Just an amazing family.
Ciao Giulio, nice to see you. Yeah, molto bene.
Giulio is the father.
Who's been running the winery for many, many years.
And he is one of the most knowledgeable winemakers out there.
But even just as much as a winemaker, he's a farmer.
You know, people say they make wine in the vineyard. He really does. He's not about doing a lot of stylistic things in the cantina. He's more about showcasing the vintage and humbly standing behind his area of origin.
Giulio is from the area. He's born and raised here. His family is from Barbaresco. And even back during the industrial era in the 50s and 60s, when a lot of people left that area to work in factories in the cities, Giulio's family never left. So he is a true, authentic Barbaresco guy. And he is very fortunate to have 3 lovely daughters who are now running the company for him. Paola is the older sister, and she runs most of the business side. Valentina is definitely more of the winemaker of the 3, and Federica handles marketing, sales, and a lot of the hospitality at the property. So now that Giulio's 3 daughters have come up and basically taken the helm of the company, you see a lot more innovation and an eye toward the future. Giulio has given them the opportunity to do that, and Ca del Baio, we've seen them grow from a small local winery to a real force in our portfolio. It's become one of our most important brands for sure. All right. Okay. First, Paola greeted us.
Here we have the Chardonnay.
She's very excited about the harvest and the Riesling and the Chardonnay that are in the tanks.
It's almost fermented.
Oh my God, look at the color. So she was jumping right into tasting the fresh juice, which is great. I wish I could drink wine just like this all the time.
Luckily, the last part of the summer was calm in the night but warm in the day, so the acidity is fantastic. But this is of course for Luna d'Agosto, because the other Chardonnay de Sermina, it's sweet because we just finished a couple of days ago, and it's here, it's juice.
So what was the difference? This was picked about 2 weeks.
This one 2 days ago,
Yeah.
This one a week ago. We have a big difference in days, because in this one we pay more attention in the acidity, because we want more fruitiness, more effect in the nose than in the taste, than the palate, because the other one is going to be a wine by glass, like for aperitivo, so has to impress a lot the nose, but has to be very light, leggero. For this one that is going to be in oak, in tonneau, we need also some texture. So we need a little bit more struttura.
Well, amazing to see that development of the fruit in just a couple of weeks. That's great.
All around here, so we have all the 2023 production of the Barbaresco. So we are in this moment totally focused in the large botti. We have a couple of small ones, but only for a practical reason. But most of them, as you see, are big botti.
And what is the difference, the size of the barrels? How does it impact the wine?
It's something like that impact a lot of the wood taste, because for us, a wine that smells of oak is not good. So the wood for us, in our cantina, is something that helps the wine to mature. It's not an ingredient.
Understood.
So we are working, and we have the privilege to have the Nebbiolo, which is one of the most unique variety in the world. And we want that when you take a glass of Ca del Baio, you really recognize that you are in Langa, you are in Piedmont, and you are drinking Nebbiolo or Barbaresco.
You want the fruit to express itself.
Fruits, yes. So you have to recognize that is Nebbiolo. You have probably to come back when all the barrel of Nebbiolo are in fermentation. This is so nice.
After Paola took us around, Valentina took us in to taste her special wine, which is the Valentine Chardonnay, which is a beautiful wine. When she went and did her time in Burgundy at Domaine de Montiel, which is a very world-famous winery, she learned a lot about how to make Chardonnay in a kind of Burgundian way, and she brought it back. And her father, at first he resisted, but her sisters supported her, and they've now made a few vintages of the Valentine Chardonnay, which is a really special wine, and we love it.
Growing up making wine, with your family, you had your set ways that you worked, that you knew how to work. How much and in what way did Burgundy affect you?
A lot, because they have a different way of working, because here in Ca del Baio there is my father, and so my father has his own style.
So when you talk to Valentina about her Chardonnay versus her dad's Chardonnay, he liked to make wine in a very clean way, stainless steel tanks. That was his version of white wine from the area, kind of everyday wine.
So working in Burgundy, it helps me to open my mind, to open myself to new protocol of vinification and way to work.
Valentina, she went to Burgundy and she saw what you can achieve with Chardonnay and how it can express a vineyard and soil, and how using lees contact and some barrel aging you can create a much deeper, richer, complex wine that has longevity.
It's great that when the best from some areas can be taken and you can put them into practice.
Yes.
I think customers are understanding when we brought the wine in finally, and it struck people, especially people who really taste a lot of Italian Chardonnay in particular. They were really blown away with the quality and also stylistically. It was almost like they were saying, amazing, this can be achieved in Piemonte.
Yeah.
This style can be achieved, so that's a great accomplishment. Can we taste a little bit?
Yes, we can go there in the cellar.
Let's do it. Okay, we're here, and I am excited to taste this wine, that's for sure. This is a Chardonnay that's coming from their newly acquired vineyards in Alta Landa, so a little bit higher elevation.
So I want to sample some of the new Chardonnay that is in fermentation.
What vintage is this in barrel?
2024.
It smells great. It's very rich on the nose.
It's already showing some complexity too.
So the wines is made from older vines, so fruits are coming from older vines, and now I'm going to leave the wine for 1 year in the barrel.
This is incredible. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Getting tons of pear, quince, and even like some peach flavors.
Yeah.
Valentina really has come into her own. The wines are just really great. It's already feeling amazing, just harvested too.
Yeah, I'm very happy.
As the years go on, I can't wait for her to bring more of her touch to things and to see those great vineyards continue to express themselves more and more. I wonder if this can fit in my carry-on. I want to introduce everybody to the last piece of the puzzle. Here with Federica.
Federica represents the family very well. She does all the vineyard tours and the winery tours.
Federica, I think the youngest, she's a wonderful person to be the promoter, the person who brings the winery to you. I gotta say, I love hearing you talk about the wines, about your traditions here, and about the local culture. So, do you think you could take us through a little tour of the Ca del Baio facility and everything?
Certo.
Great.
You can follow me.
Nice.
Welcome in our library.
Cool. Wow. What are some of the oldest bottles you have in here?
So our oldest bottle is a bottle of 1956. Barbaresco 56 is the idea is rebuilding the story of my family through old vintages.
Do you keep some bottles every vintage? You put some away?
At least 3%.
I think it's really important, you know, to show evolution for future sommeliers, wine buyers, even passionate people so they can understand what is so magical about this area. You know, how the wines evolve and what they become, because these wines are so long-lived and they develop so beautifully. So
Yeah, in fact, that's really important. We are even a generation that do not have, most of all, the passion to let age the wine. So having the chance or giving the chance to taste or selling some old vintages for me and my sister is really important.
it's incredible.
Sì, sì,
Yeah.
sì, definitely.
I wanted to ask you about this picture. Tell me who this is here in the picture.
Allora, this is a picture took just right after the big war and with our horse. It was like taking picture with a Lamborghini car, like with a helicopter, because it was an animal only for rich people, you know.
Yeah.
And my family was not rich, but my great-grandfather had one passion, was the racehorse. Our grandfather always described this animal like an animal that was eating money, but was not giving back money, because it was unuseful for the vineyard, because they cannot work as much as a cow at the time that they were not tractor, of course.
Is this why the horse became kind of a symbol of the winery? Because obviously it's the logo.
My great-grandfather and this horse that we thought that was a nice way to commemorate him, because officially he has been the one to start the vinification.
Because
Ca del Baio.
before that you were just growing grapes and then you would sell them?
Esatto. So we were...
So you were just farming?
Yes, just farming, and Luigi, our great-grandfather, started officially the business of the vinification. But yes, of course, is a symbol of proudness, of course, telling the story of your family, because a really modest story. It's not a history of a blue blood story, but it's a history of farmer that really believe in this land.
And you know, I think it changes how people feel about the wine when they look at the bottle and they don't see just an image or a label, but they see people.
It's fantastic because wine equal family most of the time, no?
For sure.
So.
And it's interesting too because the next generation is like women power running this whole company in a way. And you guys are the future of it.
For me, having like my sister as a collaborator, as a colleague is really important because put all the energy together and helps to grow up on that. I feel lucky because, you know, my partner, my colleague are my sister, which I grew up and I share history, you know.
I think that's one of the most valuable things here, you know. When you're tasting the wine, if you understand where people really came from, you could taste that breed, the depth, the history.
And you can't have the story of Ca del Baio without all three of you.
To the amazing winery that you have, so thanks for talking to you.
Of course.
This was an amazing day.
I love coming here. It's
mean-
one of my favorite places to visit.
You know, as Omni Wines has grown, we've seen this cantina grow. They're at everyone's lips of the great producers in this region. I mean, they're just clicking on all cylinders and the wines reflect it. They're full of life, full of energy. It's just amazing. Our job is a lot easier when you're going out with this in the bag, showing these wines.
You walk in with pride.
Yeah, and then when you put it in the glass, it's like game over.
Wine speaks for itself.
Yeah, for sure.
It's exciting to watch this moment at this winery where we're watching Giulio pass the torch to the next generation of these incredible female winemakers. You can see it when you talk to them, how inspired they are, how hardworking they are, how they walk this really fine line between respecting their family tradition, but also thinking about the future, thinking about being innovative, and really wanting to make their mark. It's an honor to represent them, and we have a duty to represent great estates like this.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to get back to work. Put the wines in everywhere we can get them in.
Well, you don't have to wait to get back to work because we got another appointment. We gotta roll, bro. Let's get out of here.